And the Devlawi, I'm Matt, and we're looking at 2024's most shocking moments. Let's have a look.
These were the most heart-stopping moments of 2024. In February, a moose on the loose was seen barreling down a ski slope in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
There's a moose loose about this hoose.
Unbelievable.
This skier skied backward while warning others.
Go faster! When it initially came out.
Go faster! Like you can go faster. This looks like me, to be honest, when I was snowboarding back in 2004. Jesus Christ. Been a while. I just had no control over the snowboard. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just barreling towards people.
I passed it first and didn't even see it because I was focusing on the hill. And then I heard them yell moose. Woo! Usually when you see them on hill or anything like this, they're just standing or picking at trees or something. Slow walk. I've never seen one full speed like that before, so it was definitely alarming. Gotcha!
Finally, the moose made its way back into the woods. Did this New York City firefighter go too far? In July, when a car was way too close to a hydrant.
No, that's why you don't park in front of a fire hydrant. Because if you do, and there's a fire, you risk your car getting completely wrecked. I mean, there's also something to be said that they could have maybe just ran the hose over the car. Might have got a little bit scratched, but I think sometimes to prove a point, they just go, right, we're going to smash your windows because we've got a right to.
He broke the windows, then threaded the fire hose through the car and attached it to the hydrant. The firefighters were fighting a...
They could have just moved the truck 4 feet backwards and just run the hose over the car bonnet. I think they were just trying to prove a point there.
Major 4-alarm blaze in the Bronx that destroyed multiple businesses. Reports say the owner of the car racked up 33...
I mean, look, you telling me that they couldn't have just run that hose over the car?
Fire hydrant violations in the last 2 years.
Just trying to prove a point.
Totaling over $9,000.
Perhaps this individual had it coming to them.
Yeah, that's the... Yes, take pictures and say you violated it and maybe publicly shame them, but you made a point of destroying the property there. And maybe that individual just was naive enough to think, oh, right, there's plenty of clearance there to get to the fire hydrant. You know what I mean? I think they were just trying to prove a point. And in some cases like that, I think they were being dicks. It weren't like the car was directly blocking the pipe. They could have easily have just backed that truck up about 3 feet and just run the pipe straight over the bonnet.
In February, a teenager collapsed at a school and a deputy sprang into action.
You get the breast, I'll get the chest, okay?
It happened during track practice.
Press, 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 press.
When the deputy arrived, the teen was already hooked up to an AED, or automated external defibrillator.
Come on, buddy! You are there!
She helped administer a second shock from the AED.
Good job, buddy. Come on.
The boy regained a pulse and was taken to a hospital.
Christ, on a bike. Is that a drive-by?
In May, a young boy took cover as bullets flew into his living room. 9-year-old Errol was playing with his French bulldogs when gunshots rang out. His mother, Mary Jane Gonzalez, told Jim Murray she was in the bedroom.
But don't go through people's heads, really don't.
You realize how close they came to hitting your son? If he had been standing up, he could have been hit.
My heart dropped.
As Errol ducked for cover inside, this was the scene outside the Texas apartment complex. Over a dozen children fled and hit the ground as gunshots rang out.
They were firing at kids.
So terrified about what happened to those children.
Errol eventually ran to his parents' bedroom, crouching the entire way. In April...
You know, one thing I'll say about the UK is, yeah, whenever you mention it in America, maybe someone's watching this from America, we talk about gun control and the fact that there's too many shootings in America and it's part of your constitution, the right to bear arms. And I know that the UK, we've got like stabbings are on the rise. It's becoming more prevalent in sort of big cities like London and places like that now. But it's much easier to defend yourself against the stabbing than a mass shooting. It feels like America, you just need to get control of your guns. And I know what you're going to say. How do we defend ourselves against someone who's got a gun if we don't have a gun? But the ease of which you can just go and buy weapons in America is scary.
As a little girl,
I walked into a shop in the UK and there was like a lot of guns knocking around. I'd be like, what the hell is this? You know, like, it's just so bizarre. Even our coppers don't have guns. And the way they are at the minute, I wouldn't, promote coppers having weapons. Jesus. End up shooting a lot of people who say hurty words on the internet. But there's something to be said that if your police force do not need weapons or do not have guns apart from those specially trained to do so, then maybe the neighborhoods are vastly safer in that community. In America, it seems like coppers get the weapons out the minute that they talk to you. Stop you for a traffic violation. Get on the ground.
Ran towards a busy intersection, two barbers leaped into action. Les Trent has more.
Apparently, the toddler slipped away from her mother at this bus stop, which is right down the street from the barber shop. The mother reportedly took her eye off of her daughter for 1 second and didn't even realize she was gone.
It happens. It happens. And I get people who probably watch that and then straight in the comments going, how can you let your toddler out of your sight and what have you? And it's like, it happens. You're juggling your shopping bags, you're trying to get them on the bus. You might have another kid in tow who's taking a bit of attention. Before you know it, bang, toddlers sprinting.
Osvaldo Lugo and Rafael Santana were taking care of customers at the Look Sharp barber shop in East Hartford, Connecticut, when the girl ran by their window. The barbers instantly realized the danger the child was in and ran out the door. As the girl was a few feet away from traffic, Lugo scooped her into his arms. Afterward, the two barbers looked around trying to figure out where the child came from.
It's very busy. This is a main intersection.
I immediately said something.
Well done to these guys. Well done. Spotted and action straight away. I mean, yeah, it was scary. The kid just carried on running in towards traffic. But it's also scary in another respect that if these guys weren't upstanding citizens doing the right thing, being heroes, saving that kid, it could have been the other side of the spectrum where it was people looking for opportunities. You know what I mean? That scares the shit out of me as well. That's why I'd never let my little one out of my sight, ever.
Something and look back.
Until she's 30, maybe 35.
To see if the mom was behind her, but there was nobody behind her.
My initial reaction, it was just, I gotta get there.
In April, a fast food manager was credited with saving a baby's life. Security video from a Richboro, Pennsylvania Taco Bell showed a white car pulling up to the drive-thru. The driver, Natasha Long, had her 11-week-old son Miles in the back seat. She heard her son struggling to breathe and jumped out of her vehicle to grab him. The frightened mother screamed for help, a call that was answered by Taco Bell manager Becky Arbaugh. Video shows Arbaugh performing chest compressions until the baby started breathing again. Miles was taken to the hospital for treatment. Long says Arbaugh, who stayed with the mother and child until medical help arrived, saved her son's life. In May,
Error. Absolute error.
a pastor was conducting Sunday church services when out of nowhere, a man walked up to the altar rail, pointed a gun, and pulled the trigger. By some miracle, it jammed, and the pastor dove for cover. Then a hero emerged and tackled the gunman to the floor.
Bloody hellfire. Is that good fortune? Or is this sort of skit? Because, I don't know, the way that he sort of walked up and the way the pastor dove down and the way the guy's just holding him, like, if you tackle someone to the ground, you're like, bang, you're throwing in punches, you're grabbing the gun, just seems a little bit tame, but this is on the news, so I'm assuming, the guy got arrested.
That hero was a church deacon who put the suspect in a bear hug while trying to grab the gun. All of this played out in front of the congregation and a live stream of people watching from home.
Why is more people not jumping in?
Reverend Glenn Germany of the Jesus Dwelling Place Church in Pittsburgh says he couldn't believe what happened.
Gun jammed. You know what's coming next? Divine intervention. Yeah. Something good happened, so it must have been divine intervention.
At the moment, I was just trying to stay alive. It really is a miracle.
Germany says he does not know the suspect. This was the Hero Church deacon, Clarence McAllister, who confiscated the pistol.
What is going through your mind?
I mean, yeah. I'm surprised more people didn't jump in there. I always wondered about this. Like, near where I live, like I was working in Manchester city centre, and there was a stabbing. Sort of 6-7 people got injured. There was a guy with a knife in the Arndale Centre, which is a big shopping complex. So I always wondered, like, if I was in there, would I, if I see that, would I run in and try to tackle the dude? Like, if I'm seeing random people getting targeted, I'd like to think that I would try my best to go in and try to help and stop him. Easier said than done. And to be fair, if I was on my own, maybe I would have done that, and I was, because obviously I was at work. But if I'm with my family, then I don't think I would, because my immediate thing is if I get injured or if I get stabbed, killed, if it takes me down, then I don't know if that guy's alone. I don't. So yeah, my priority would just be get them out of there, to be honest.
When you see this guy with a gun?
Oh, I was shocked. I've never seen nothing like that in my life.
He's your guardian angel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so grateful for him.
In June, a German shepherd named Zeus had an encounter with 3 bears as he returned home from a walk with his owner.
Wanted some porridge.
The mama bear wasn't happy to see Zeus and began to chase him down the long driveway.
I mean, the good thing about the dog is the dog's going to outrun the bear. As long as the dog's not stupid enough to stop.
She was probably just protecting her cubs and was trying to chase off the biggest threat, which was Zeus.
Zeus's owner screamed as loud as she could and didn't think twice about trying to come to his rescue.
For me, it was like an instinct. It was.
I suppose you would. I mean, I've had dogs growing up. You love them, they're part of your family. You would absolutely steamroll in there trying to help.
Wasn't even really.
Like the guy who had fisticuffs with a kangaroo in Australia. The kangaroo basically had a dog in a headlock, and the guy was like throwing punches with a kangaroo. And back in the day, like during Crocodile Dundee and stuff like that, you always thought kangaroos were these tame sort of, like nice little hop along, very innocent sort of creatures. And then you realise that the jacked up sort of claw hand menaces. Absolutely not. I remember the video. I'll see if I can actually put a clip in now in a minute of a guy who was parachuting into a spot and they were coming at him from all sides. That looked terrifying.
What's up, Skip? Hey, back off! Back off! Go away! Fucking kangaroos.
A second thought that was like, should I chase the bear? It was like, I'm going to.
Her screams drew attention away from Zeus and caused the bear to stop chasing him. But then the bear focused on her.
I realized she made that 180 turn to look back at me and then realized she was coming towards me. And that's where I realized that, oh crap, like I have to go back home too.
Bailey got home just in time. Eventually, Zeus returned home too.
Literally peeked his little ears out of the woods about a minute later, and he was just waiting for my call.
That's why I always think if there was a zombie apocalypse or the animals took over, I'd be screwed. Because my Achilles, which I've got a bit of a problem with on my left foot, that would just go. I've got a bad right knee and I'm massively overweight. So yeah, I think I'd just be bear food in that situation.
In October, Sarah Cook and Ryan Lesher screamed and scrambled for safety after a dozen dogs aggressively swarmed around them.
I was sure that we were going to.
Fair play to him. Fair play to the guy. The way his instinct was protect her. You know, make a barrier between the dogs and her. Fair play to him.
Die. We were pretty much pinned against the wall. One jumped up and bit me right in my abdomen immediately.
I wasn't sure if I was going to survive that, but we did. We're here.
We just bought this house, and it should be such a happy time for us, and now we're afraid to be in our backyard.
Incredible.
That's it. I mean, dogs can look so innocent, but when they're in a pack, terrifying.
Just 10 days later, the same pack of pit bulls attacked a mom of 3 as she picked up her kids at daycare in Indianapolis. The traumatized toddlers were safe inside the vehicle, but their mom was bitten on the feet and ankles.
Why should she not get in the car? Get in the car, close the door, climb into the driver's seat, and then show the bastards what 2 tons of metal feels like.
While screaming for her life.
My kids are screaming, and what was probably lasted 30 seconds felt like 10 to 15 minutes of pure torture.
Eventually, the dogs were removed by animal control. In July, it was
I wonder how animal control dealt with that situation.
a scary moment for people on an escalator when a mechanical malfunction caused nearly a dozen people to be injured after falling on top of each other. It happened at an underground metro station in the Turkish city of Izmir.
I saw a guy once working in Manchester, Manchester Airport. Not actually in the airport, but I worked for an airline and we were in one of the terminals. But at lunch, we used to go up the escalator and there was a little cafe there near Terminal 2. And there was a guy who, and you're not supposed to take your luggage onto the escalators for very good reasons, right? You're sort of going down a metal staircase and you got to hold on, make sure you're okay, and then get off. If you're carrying luggage, it's not going to be good. I don't know if the guy was drunk or whether he fainted or whatever, but he just stood there and it was at the top of the escalator and it was coming down and he sort of just leapt forward and just went bang all the way to the bottom with his suitcase. There was blood everywhere. Obviously the staff and some people came and looked after him and whatever. And he seemed to be okay but injured. But yeah, it's always made me nervous now. So if I've got a tiny sort of little suitcase, I might risk it. But he had a full suitcase. It's like, never risk it on an escalator. But I don't, again, it just looked like he, rather than like struggling with the suitcase, it just looked like he went, oh, and just, face planted on metal, which, just did not look good.
In February of 2024, when beer shot out of a fermenter, this guy clearly wasn't prepared. Thankfully, he was okay.
That's what you call a beer shot right there.
In February, this car going 100 miles an hour zoomed by police and ran through a red light. The deputy tried to pull the driver over, but they kept going. At one point, the driver lost control and veered off the roadway. Just when it looked like the pursuit was over, he kept going.
It looks to me like the guy was after a police chase. He waited for the police to turn up so he can...
Station was blocked in by deputies and was ordered out of the car.
Step out of the car. Turn around, face away from me. Put your hands up over your head.
That's, to me, looked like he was trying to get arrested because you blow past the police officer, you create off the road, you wait until the coppers show up, then you take off, and then you think, I'm going to go and park in a petrol station.
To your left. Get down on your knees. Got him?
I'm like, take a step to your left. And bend your knees inside. That looks like one of the most peaceful arrests I've seen on American news.
He was eventually taken into custody. When questioned about his actions, deputies say he told them, quote, he thought he could get away with it and that it would be fun. The
Brains of dynamite.
19-year-old suspect was charged with fleeing to elude a law enforcement officer with disregard for safety. In January 2024, when this yellow sports car wouldn't stop, a high-tech device deployed to bring the high-speed chase to a screeching halt. It activates under the rear tire and wraps around the tires of fleeing vehicles to stop all forward motion.
I've never seen that before. That's pretty cool. I'm assuming, though, you'd have to be really precise with it. Like, you'd have to get really up behind, line it up, and then it sort of, because of the motion of the wheel, it sort of latches on. But that's pretty cool.
The device, being introduced by police departments.
And I'm assuming as well that you would need certain speeds, you wouldn't want to try it, and your vehicle would have to be quite weighty and beefy, because if you're trying to stop something that's bigger and faster than you, probably just rip the front end of your bumper off.
Apartments everywhere was invented by a roofer with zero law enforcement experience. Leonard Stock had the idea after watching a high-speed chase on TV.
As I was watching it, I was just cringing when I would see that happen. I hope that lives are being saved. That's the only reason I'm doing this.
Here's how it works.
Fair play. Good man.
As the net is unfurled, police get as close as they can to the fleeing suspects. Then the chase ends without anyone getting
That is pretty cool. That's a good invention.
injured.
Some people do think that it shoots out of the police vehicle, but it actually stays attached to the grappler unit and is directed into the tire.
I always wondered, with modern cars like Teslas, I own a Tesla. I know some people in America will be like, "Oh, you're a Musk fan," etc. We don't do US politics that much in the UK, to be honest. I got a Tesla before Musk got involved in politics because I was always a big fan of them. But even with modern cars, BYDs in China, Teslas, Volkswagens, no matter what it is, like the electric vehicle renaissance, I always wondered whether it gets to a point where police have the ability to just remote stop them, like remote control them. Like we get within a certain limit, it'll go, okay, we've got the ID of that car, and then we've got the power to go, boosh, stop. I can imagine that would come along at some point. There's implications on that, like that system could be hacked, etc. But I see the logic in it as well.
In December, an angry driver crashed right into a car dealership in Sandy, Utah.
I told you. Whoa! Whoa! Call the cops! Is anybody under the car?
No.
It was kind of a very, very scary situation.
Megan Alexander has more.
The manager says earlier in the day, the driver had purchased a used Subaru Outback for $4,000.
Several hours later, he came back and he was very emotional, upset about the vehicle. Had been to his mechanic, said there were some things wrong with it, and he would, like to get his money back. He said, "Listen, if you don't give me my money back right now, I'm going to run this car right through the front door."
Which he did.
Not the right way of going about it, but I can understand that you'd feel absolutely pissed off. If you just give $4,000 over to a dealership for a car that you'd expect was in good working condition, and within the same day that you're having to go to your mechanic, and the mechanic's probably going, "Yeah, they've screwed you over here. This is wrong with it. This is wrong with it. It's going to cost you thousands." You go back to the dealership and go, "I want my money back." And it sounds to me like they said, "No, you sold a scene, you're not getting your money back." Then I can understand why he's pissed off. I can understand why he's really pissed off. But I wouldn't drive my car through the dealership window because you're going to be out of pocket by even more now. Like, you're going to have a police record and you're going to get fined, no doubt.
You can see the...
And the dealership will have insurance, so they'll just get someone in to repair that, and... yeah, so they're probably not bothered.
Driver getting cuffed by cops. He later spoke with Inside Edition.
What on earth were you thinking?
I was just really angry. I was upset about my money. I kind of blacked out for a second.
But Michael, in what universe is it okay to do this?
I know I probably shouldn't have done it, but I guess I just hit a breaking point.
Some people do. Some people have breaking points. Like that, he might have needed that car for work. He might have been under real stress about getting to and from work. He might have needed it for a new job. He might have been in debts, but he needed to give that money over. And then he bought a car. Within that day, he's had to take it to the mechanic, and the mechanic said, "Yeah, this is all wrong with it, and you have to pay this much." And then they turned around and went, "We don't care. I understand that people have got their breaking points.
The heart-stopping video of a defendant taking a flying leap and attacking a judge.
How does he get that bleeding close? Can we get him over here for the UK judges?
In December, the defendant, Deobra Redden, was sentenced in the case. Redden will serve at least 26 years in prison for...
Is that not a conflict of interest that the same judge gives him the sentence after he did that? I'm not sure. I mean, you don't want to reward the guy by saying we've got a mistrial here and we have to do it all again. Because at the end of the day, it was him being an absolute dickhead. But, yeah, I'm not sure that same judge should be the one sentencing.
For the attack on Clark County District Judge Mary Kay Holtis. Redden has pleaded guilty, but his defense attorney
I mean, fair play to him. That was some Superman shit there.
Argued he was mentally ill and wasn't taking his medication at the time of the attack. From January, check out this scare on a highway. A trooper was speaking to a driver during a traffic stop in Oklahoma when all of a sudden...
Christ. That is scary crap. Because the trooper as well, I mean, that's like metal just going bash and then knocking him like 6 feet. And the person in the car, is that on the other side? Yeah, because if this is America, then the driver's on the left side, so the driver that he's talking to would be on that side.
Another driver crashed into them, sending the trooper and car parts flying. Incredibly, the trooper and the two drivers were okay. In April, seconds after Shane Ramesh walked into a convenience store in Eugene, Oregon, this happened. An incredibly scary-looking saw came barreling across
Where the hell did that come from?
the parking lot and smashed into the store. The impact was so intense that the store actually shook. Shane spoke to Les Trent.
When that blade hit the building, what did it feel like?
It shook the whole building. Yeah, I mean, it was like an earthquake.
The saw broke loose from a construction site up the road.
Up the road? I mean, how far? Christ, how far did it travel? I mean, yeah, he's lucky. I don't think it would have hit him because I don't think it hit where the door is. But it was close enough.
When you walked
And there's people walking around a bit further up as well.
into the store, did you turn around? Did you see the blade coming toward you?
Not at first. At first, I just saw a puff of dust. It wasn't until I actually saw the projectile, you know, I'm thinking it's going right through this door, right through me.
This is Inside Edition Digital.
Some interesting ones in there, to be honest. There was crazy shit with the saw at the end. I think that the church scene with the guy with the gun, yeah, he did get lucky. I'm not going to put it down to the divine, though. I know people who are religious would say, yeah, that's God's work, but if he got his head blown off, is that God's work as well? I don't know. Yeah, this was quite an interesting segment. I'm going to see if I can check out more of these. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one. You take care. In a bit.